I'm going to ask you a question. Who in here has recently said the words, "I can't"? Raise your hand. Okay. Same. Who in here has actually counted the number of times that they've said, "I can't"? Like, I can't do well on this exam, so why even study the material? Or, I can't be successful at this job because I'm not qualified. To be honest, when I was first invited to speak here, I automatically said, "I can't," and I just shut my computer. So we've all acknowledged that there are things, or all of us feel like there are things that we can't do. But why is it that we think that? Well, every day we get messages, both verbal and nonverbal, from our friends, our families, our peers, in our workplace, that tell us what we're capable of doing. They tell us what we can and cannot do, and they tell us what's within our job description. And those messages, they can shape the way that we perceive challenges. And sometimes challenges can seem so big, and when that happens, that's when we feel like we can't make a difference. So I have another more personal question for you guys. Who in here has ever been dumped? Raise them high, we're all friends. Okay. So I'm going to tell you about a time where I felt like I wasn't capable, I couldn't make a difference. I'm going to tell you a story about a time that I was dumped. So I'm being dumped by this guy, and he tells me first, "You lack a sense of agency in your decision-making process." And 2, we are on 2 different intellectual levels. First off, rude. Second, when did the art of dumping someone become the art of the performance review? So, because I really valued his opinion at the time, those words stuck with me, and I started to believe them. I actually thought, maybe I'm not as capable as I previously thought I was, or I'm not as intelligent as I previously thought. And that shaped the way that I took on both personal and professional challenges, where I thought, maybe I'm not capable, so I shouldn't really try. But as I was reflecting on this, I started to wonder, how many opportunities do we let pass us by, or how many challenges go unsolved because we simply think we can't, or we can't make a difference? And I started to draw parallels between this personal experience and the work that I do. And in all the work that we do, we're addressing real-world problems. And sometimes those problems seem really big and so unattainable, and as individuals, we feel like we can't make a difference. I started to think about the work that I'm most interested in. And that is what many are calling our generation's greatest threat to public health. Now, what's that? That's climate change. Climate change is our generation's greatest threat to public health. And it is for a number of reasons. First off, with climate change, we're experiencing more extreme temperatures, both hot and cold. And this has implications for pollen and allergens in the air that have effects on our respiratory health. Also, there are going to be changes in the availability of water, which have implications on drought, crop production, and malnutrition. We've all seen that there's an increase in natural disasters that are happening. That includes hurricanes, flooding, and also extreme temperatures. And extreme temperatures are actually more dangerous than all these other natural hazards combined. These natural hazards are dangerous for our health because they lead to issues of lack of water sanitation, drowning, physical injury, death, and disruption of medical services and health services. Climate change also brings a change in disease transmission. We're seeing diseases transmitted in places around the globe that they have not been seen before because climates are allowing these diseases to persist in places like they weren't able to do before. So here's the thing. Climate change is going to affect all of us, everyone in here. But climate change does not affect everybody equally. Who's most at risk? Young children, the elderly, people of low income, people who are socially isolated, and people who rely on public assistance. So I agree, this issue of climate change is huge and daunting, and it seems like we can't do anything about it because it's just so beyond us. But does that mean that we don't do anything about it? No. Whose responsibility is it then to address the health impacts of climate change? Well, I think we all have a responsibility, and we can all make a huge difference. I specifically think that health and public health professionals have a really big role to play in this issue of the health impacts of climate change. And I want to acknowledge that there already are a lot of people who are addressing the health impacts of climate change, but there's so much more work that needs to be done, and there's so much room for other people to act. So on the whole, health professionals do agree that climate change is a health issue, but they feel stifled because they feel like they don't have a role to play in it. And why is that? They say, the issue is just so big, it's beyond my capacity to make a difference or to do anything about it. Or, it's really difficult to engage my colleagues and my patients, therefore I can't do anything about it. Or, the issue is just so large, I feel really disempowered and helpless. But again, is this a reason to not do anything? No. I think that we all have skills and knowledge and expertise that we can leverage and bring to this issue to address the health impacts of climate change. We don't need to be climate experts to make a difference. Next, I'm going to give you an example of how so-called non-experts can actually make a huge difference in climate change. And before I get into that, I want to take you to Fresno County, California, where I do my work. Okay, so Fresno County is in California, is a population of just less than a million people. And it is one of our world's capitals for agriculture. And I can guarantee you, if you've ever eaten a fruit or vegetable, it's likely that it might have come from Fresno County. But beyond this, Fresno County has a lot of other issues that are important to talk about. First, compared to the state of California, Fresno County has a lower educational attainment. Fresno County also has a greater percentage of children living under the poverty level. Fresno County also has a greater percentage of people receiving public assistance. And lastly, Fresno County also has a lower median income than the state of California. All of these statistics point at challenges to people's ability to maintain good health. They point at challenges at obtaining good health outcomes. This is also showing temperatures in Fresno. Fresno is hot, and it's only getting hotter. And remember what I said earlier about extreme heat being more dangerous than all of the other natural hazards combined? In fact, extreme heat is the #1 cause of weather-related deaths in the United States. That's huge. It's something that we don't talk about often, but it's important to talk about. And again, who's at the greatest risk for this? Young children, the elderly, people with chronic illnesses, and people who lack access to air conditioning. I want you to keep Fresno County in mind as I get back into talking about the work that I do. So a little over a year ago, there was an international nonprofit named Healthcare Without Harm. They were putting out a grant to support nurses working in climate change. My colleague Angela and I saw this and we thought, maybe we could do something on a very local and manageable scale to help nurses work in climate change. And ultimately, we got this grant, which is great. And this is how we did it. The first thing is we were able to understand the risk of extreme heat illness in Fresno County. And by extreme heat illness, I mean anything from heat cramping to heat exhaustion to heat stroke, all of which have the potential to lead to death. The next thing is we also understood that Fresno County's public health nurses are already skilled at assessing their patients' vulnerability to other health risks. So we thought, why don't we just train these public health nurses to assess their patients' risk of extreme heat illness in the same way they do for other illnesses? And this is how we came up with the idea of Nurses for Cool and Healthy Homes. So Nurses for Cool and Healthy Homes is a program that equips public health nurses with the knowledge and tools to empower their home visit clients to stay healthy and cool at home in the face of extreme heat while also minimizing their environmental footprint. Now, how do they do this? The nurses are trained to assess the heat-related illness potential in their patients. The nurses are educated on the different resources and tools that are available to link their patients to these programs and services such as utility assistance or home energy improvements. And they also are trained to educate their patients on how to stay safe in their home during extreme heat events, which are very common in Fresno County. Before we started implementing Nurses for Cool and Healthy Homes, we worked with the nurses to get a better understanding of what they thought their role was in this issue of climate change and health. And again, they felt the same way that we've all felt. They said, it's just too big of an issue. I don't think that I can make a difference, and it's not within my capacity to work on this. They also said they felt uncomfortable because they didn't previously have the resources or knowledge to help their patients, even though they saw their patients in need. So through Nurses for Cool and Healthy Homes, we were able to train them and equip them with the knowledge and tools they needed to help their patients stay healthy and cool in their home. And through that, we saw a huge transformation. So what was once the nurses thinking they weren't equipped was just a matter of them leveraging the skills and experiences that they already have and already use on a day-to-day basis and applying that to this issue of climate change. So it was all a matter of the nurses being open to reimagining how they could apply their skills, and they realized they could actually make a difference in climate change. So what I learned from this was people are going to tell us every day what we're capable of doing or what we're not capable of doing or what's beyond our job description. But you have to realize that you already have so many skills and resources that you can apply to these other challenges and actually make a huge difference. And as I learned from my personal and professional experiences, people are going to try to confine us to certain roles, but it's our responsibility to challenge those roles and realize what we can do to make a big impact. My last question for you today is, what is it that you think you can't do? Thank you.